But Kenna, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Awesome, I'm doing good. Jumping into it, so how did you get your start in racing?
I started racing when I was 11 years old. My dad had been racing for a couple years before that. And before him, my grandpa had a race team, but he worked on the cars more than he raced them. And I was like, when my dad was racing, I was like, man, I really want to do this. This seems like a lot of fun. I didn't really have a sport. Like, I kind of did some soccer, wrestling, a few other things, but I never really had like a sport that really, I was like, this is what I want to do.
Hmm.
So when I got started racing, I started in mini cups and bandoleros, which is like just the base mini version of what I'm racing now.
Awesome. I get the vibe from your socials that like as much as you enjoy driving the car, you also like working like on the car. So like growing up, was it like, oh, I want to drive, or was there an idea of, man, I'd be happy just to be working on this car like every weekend?
I mean, it was really cool watching like how all the stuff goes together. Like when we're at the
Hmm.
track working, like getting stuff like changed between runs. I always like think it's just cool to me. Like even though I'm driving the car, it's still cool to me to see how it all goes together. And like out on the track being like, okay, this is the change they made, this is what I can
Hmm.
expect. And then also knowing like this is a problem we've had before, here's how we solved it and stuff like that.
Awesome. Do you have a favorite racing moment from your career so far?
I'd say this last year on my graduation night when I won both races, I was really thinking the first race, I was like, man, that's crazy. I graduated tonight and then I won a race. And then I think my favorite moment though was the end of the second race, the last lap coming out of the finish line. I was like, holy crap, I just graduated, won in the pros and won in the supers all in the same night on opening night. And it was just the coolest thing to me at the time because I was like, I looked up to a lot of these people when I was in juniors
Hmm.
and not quite at that level yet. And I was just like, wow, now I'm racing these people and I'm beating these people.
That's awesome. So speaking of that, last year your high school graduation fell on the same day as the season opening race. Can you tell us about what it was like balancing school with your racing career?
I mean, for me, I wanted to do as much racing as I could. So my
Hmm.
first 3 years of high school, I did online like homeschool stuff. And that allowed me to do like Thursday practice, Friday practice, Saturday race
Hmm.
without any issue. I could do like test days during the week. I could go karting a lot more. And I just had like a lot more like time to be able to put into racing than going to high school because from
Hmm.
what I heard from friends and stuff, it's like you miss a day and it really sucks because you have a lot of
Yeah.
different classes. But when I got to my senior year, I was thinking, well, if I never go to like real high school, if I stay online, I'm going to graduate early, and then I'm never really going to get the experience and all of like the
Hmm.
other electives they have. So for my last year, I was like, oh, might as well. Like we feel like we're in a pretty good place right now, but like racing wise, so we don't really need the Thursday practice maybe as much. We can
Hmm.
manage it, Friday practice, afternoon practice, and stuff like that. And I mean, there was still some times where it was, oh, I have an important test on this day. That's gonna kind of suck, but it's all right. Racing's more fun. But I definitely enjoyed like I took culinary welding or welding in metal shop, and those were a lot of fun for me. I would have been sad if I never got the experience of like hands-on stuff because
Hmm.
really couldn't provide the same level of like this is I know what I'm doing. I have a teacher who can explain stuff to me,
Yeah.
and like I can see what I'm doing in front of me.
So when it comes down to like, is it more stressful when you're like your car is like just like too tight in the corners versus like you're trying to ace that like algebra test? Like, did you find yourself being like, oh, it's really relaxing being like an algebra class versus being like at the track, or like vice versa? You're like, oh, I'd rather be at the track than be in so and so's class.
I definitely would say I preferred being at the track more. Like to me, it'd be
Hmm.
like if I have a test coming up, I feel like I know I was pretty good with like
Yeah.
science and really history and English that were like, I'd really rather be at the racetrack right now. Or be like on
Awesome.
a Friday, be like, oh, I can't wait, not wait for this class to finish so I can just go to the track.
Awesome. What advice would you give to younger racers?
I'd say definitely patience and like on the track, moving up through series. Like I spent like a couple years in the juniors and I really felt
Hmm.
like that helped me when I moved up to the pros just because I got more time to learn. Like my first race in the juniors, I was really slow. I was not like firing off fast. And then I figured it out. Like each race got faster and faster and we had a really good field
Hmm.
like the first year I did juniors. And I felt like that taught me a lot, especially like patience. And then in pros, like my first win at Roseville, like there's two cars battling in front of me, like side by side the whole race. End of the race, last lap, last corner. They wrecked each other out and I took the win. I was like, that's all it took. Just a little bit of patience and I was able to get ahead of
Mhm.
them. And
That's awesome. Yeah, I always find it interesting because I feel like it kind of sounds like a silly question when you're asking someone like so young, like what advice would you give? But I think that sometimes like you look at people like a Kevin Harvick and like there's so much advice they can give the younger drivers, but like when they're coming up through the ranks, you're not worrying about like social media. Whereas in today's age, it's like if you're not on social media, like that's I feel like that's such a key component to like
yeah,
racers out there getting sponsors or all that stuff. So I feel like people like yourself, it's awesome because it's like even though you are young in your career, it's like 5 years ago you were in this position they're going through
yeah.
versus someone saying, "Well, 50 years ago, here's what I went through." So I always find that really is interesting. To finish up, what's your favorite NASCAR paint scheme of all time?
A few I went through, but I definitely think my favorite would be Chastain's watermelon scheme from
Uh-huh.
Darlington in 2023. Like I really just like the scheme. It looks so cool to me.
Hmm. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us. For people online who want to follow more of your career, where can they find you out online?
On Instagram, it's Kenna Mitchell like underscore seven, and then it's
Mhm.
Kenna Kenna Mitchell Mitchell. And then on Facebook, it's just Kenna Mitchell or Kenna Mitchell Racing, one of those two. And yeah, that's where I'm at on social media.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for joining us today, Kenna.
Thank you for having me.